Imagine a crisp autumn evening, the kind where the air bites with the promise of winter, but the lingering warmth of a bonfire still cradles you. Laughter echoes through the ancient trees, the crackle of burning logs providing a rhythmic backdrop to stories shared under a canopy of countless stars. This isn't just a picturesque memory, it's the last known scene of 15 young American campers in the heart of Yellowstone's sprawling wilderness back in 1993. Led by their enthusiastic counselor, Sarah Jensen, and including bright, adventurous spirits like Ethan Miller and the more introspective Olivia Davis, this group of teenagers had embarked on what should have been an unforgettable journey of discovery and camaraderie. Their final night together was, by all accounts, perfect. Then, a silence descended. A silence so profound, so absolute, that by morning only an empty clearing remained, a void where vibrant life had been just hours before. For 31 agonizing years, the disappearance of these 15 individuals became a national tragedy, a cold case that gnawed at the edges of collective memory and haunted the families left behind. Olivia's father, Michael, like so many others, lived with an unbearable absence, a constant question mark hanging over every waking moment. Exhaustive searches, spanning thousands of square miles of unforgiving terrain, yielded nothing. No trace, no clue, no explanation. Yellowstone, a place synonymous with awe-inspiring natural beauty and untamed power, held this chilling secret close, refusing to surrender its truth. The case remained an open wound, a stark reminder of how quickly the familiar can dissolve into the unfathomable. Then, just recently, a remote park patrol, on a routine sweep through a rarely visited section of the park, stumbled upon an anomaly that defied belief. It wasn't a body, nor a discarded piece of clothing, nor a sign of struggle. It was, instead, a perfectly preserved campsite. Tents stood neatly pitched, their canvas taut against the elements, as if waiting for their occupants to return from a brief hike. Inside, sleeping bags lay rolled, ready for another night's rest. Backpacks, filled with the essentials of a wilderness adventure, leaned against ancient trees. On a mossy log, a half-finished game of checkers sat poised, a silent testament to a moment interrupted, not concluded. Every item frozen in time, exactly as the campers had left them, ready for a return that never came. This discovery did not bring closure. It brought a deeper, more unsettling enigma. It didn't offer answers. It amplified the chilling question. Where did Sarah, Ethan, Olivia, and their 12 companions truly go? What force, what event, what inexplicable phenomenon could erase 15 people from the face of the earth, leaving behind such an undisturbed tableau of their last moments? This isn't a story of a rescue gone wrong or a clear-cut accident. It's a plunge into the heart of an impossible disappearance, a puzzle where the pieces are all present, but refuse to form a coherent picture. We stand on the precipice of an unraveling, not just of a cold case, but of our understanding of the natural world, and perhaps of the very fabric of reality itself. This journey will take us deep into the wilderness, not just of Yellowstone, but of the human mind grappling with the utterly inexplicable. It's a story that challenges our perception of safety, of certainty, and of the thin veil that separates the known from the terrifyingly unknown. The vast expanse of Yellowstone National Park, a geological marvel sculpted by millennia of volcanic activity and glacial retreat, offers a unique and formidable context for any disappearance. This isn't merely a forested wilderness. It's a dynamic landscape characterized by geothermal features that belch steam and boiling water, deep canyons carved by powerful rivers, and dense, ancient forests where sunlight struggles to penetrate. The sheer scale of the park, encompassing nearly 3,500 square miles, dwarfs human endeavor, transforming even the most organized search into an exercise in futility if the missing have ventured into its more remote, treacherous corners. Furthermore, the park's rugged topography, with its sudden drops, hidden caves, and labyrinthine ravines, makes it an ideal canvas for things and people to vanish without a trace, swallowed by an environment that refuses to yield its secrets easily. Indeed, the annals of national park history are unfortunately dotted with accounts of individuals who have succumbed to the wilderness, their stories serving as somber reminders of nature's indifferent power. While many disappearances are eventually resolved, often with tragic outcomes, a subset persists as enduring mysteries, cases where the wild simply absorbed its visitors, leaving behind no definitive answers. What distinguishes the 1993 Yellowstone incident, however, is not merely the number of individuals involved, but the complete, almost surgical absence of any initial evidence. Unlike typical lost person scenarios, where discarded gear, footprints, or a distress signal might offer a fleeting clue, this case presented a chilling void, a blank slate that defied conventional search and rescue logic from the very outset. Consider the technological landscape of 1993, a stark contrast to the sophisticated tools available to modern search operations. Without the ubiquitous presence of GPS devices, high-resolution satellite imagery, or drones equipped with thermal sensors, search teams relied predominantly on ground-based grids, meticulously combing predefined areas, often on foot or horseback. Aerial surveillance was rudimentary, limited by the visual spectrum and often hampered by the dense tree canopy or rapidly changing weather conditions characteristic of the region. Consequently, the initial painstaking efforts to locate the campers were akin to searching for a needle in an impossibly vast haystack, complicated exponentially by the sheer scale and unforgiving nature of Yellowstone's terrain, making even a small, isolated area an overwhelming challenge to cover exhaustively. The prolonged absence of any tangible evidence, coupled with the sheer number of missing individuals, also exerted a profound psychological toll, not only on the grieving families, but also on the dedicated search and rescue personnel and park rangers who poured their hearts into the fruitless quest. The transition from an active rescue mission to a cold case, from hopeful searching to a grim acceptance of the unknown, can erode morale and foster a deep sense of helplessness. Such an unresolved tragedy inevitably casts a long shadow over the perception of safety within wild spaces, challenging the very notion of human resilience against nature's raw power. It forces a public reckoning with the fact that even in protected, managed environments, the wilderness retains its ancient prerogative to conceal and confound, mocking our best efforts to impose order or understanding. Adding another layer of complexity to this already perplexing narrative is the timing of the disappearance. Early autumn. While the days can still be pleasant, Yellowstone in October is notoriously unpredictable. Rapid temperature drops, sudden snowfalls, and the onset of harsh winter weather are not uncommon. Such conditions can quickly obscure tracks, bury evidence under a blanket of white, and drastically reduce the window for survival for anyone exposed to the elements. Furthermore, the changing seasons bring about shifts in animal behavior, including the migrations of large mammals, which can inadvertently disturb potential evidence or further complicate search logistics. The environment itself becomes an active participant in the mystery, an accomplice in the concealment, making the initial critical hours and days following the disappearance a race against not just time, but against the rapidly encroaching, unforgiving grip of the high-altitude wilderness. The discovery of the perfectly preserved campsite, a tableau frozen in time, fundamentally reshaped the entire investigation, transforming it from a search for lost individuals into an archaeological puzzle of an impossible event. This wasn't merely an empty clearing, it was a ghost camp, a meticulously maintained scene devoid of its inhabitants. What truly confounded investigators was the specific nature of this preservation. Tents, for instance, were still pitched with a degree of care, suggesting they were intended for continued use, not hastily abandoned. Sleeping bags, found neatly rolled and stored within, spoke to an expectation of return, an assumption that the night's rest would be followed by another day of adventure. Even the backpacks, leaning against trees, contained personal effects and supplies, suggesting no immediate need or opportunity to grab essentials. This meticulous order directly contradicted scenarios of panic, struggle, or a sudden chaotic natural disaster, which typically leave behind scattered belongings, signs of disarray, or even evidence of attempts to gather critical survival gear. Furthermore, the absence of conventional forensic markers at the scene became a chilling focal point. Investigators meticulously scoured the area for any trace of blood, scuffle marks, torn clothing, or even discarded items that might indicate an injury, an animal attack, or a confrontation. Yet the ground remained undisturbed, the vegetation unmarred, and no personal effects beyond those neatly contained within the camp were found scattered. This pristine condition presented an investigative paradox, a site of profound human disappearance that offered no human or environmental explanation in its immediate vicinity. It was as if the campers had simply ceased to be, transitioning from tangible presence to absolute absence without leaving the slightest physical imprint of their departure. Consider the half-finished game of checkers on the mossy log, a detail so mundane yet so profoundly unsettling. It implies an interruption, not a planned departure. The pieces were mid-move, a silent testament to an activity abruptly halted. This specific detail provides a crucial window into the moment of disappearance. It suggests a sudden, overwhelming, or perhaps even instantaneous event that left no time for completion, no opportunity for a final word, or even a fleeting thought of self-preservation. It points away from scenarios like getting lost during a hike, as the camp itself was the focal point of the mystery, not a remote trail. Instead, it directs inquiry towards an event that encompassed the entire group at their base camp, without warning. Another crucial layer to this enigma is the sheer number of individuals involved. While isolated disappearances in vast wilderness areas are tragic, the vanishing of 15 people simultaneously from a fixed location without any discernible cause pushes the boundaries of conventional explanation. It necessitates a hypothesis that can account for a collective, clean removal. This aspect immediately steers away from individual accidents or even small-scale criminal acts, which would likely leave behind considerable evidence of struggle or a more selective targeting. Consequently, the investigative focus shifts from individual misfortune to a larger, encompassing phenomenon. The time capsule nature of the campsite also challenges established paradigms of wilderness survival and search and rescue. Typically, the longer a person is missing, the more degraded and scattered any potential evidence becomes. Here, however, the evidence was perfectly preserved, yet offered no direct path to the missing. This unique characteristic forces a re-evaluation of what constitutes an open case. It's not just that the people are gone, it's that their last known location presents a perfect, yet mute, record of their final moments, making the silence surrounding their fate even more deafening. This profound stillness, this meticulously arranged emptiness, is the central fact, the core concept, around which all subsequent theories and hypotheses must revolve. It transforms the cold case into a chilling archaeological site, waiting for an explanation that defies the very laws of human presence and absence. Such an impossible vanishing, leaving behind a perfectly undisturbed scene, reverberates far beyond the immediate circle of grieving families, sending ripples through the very fabric of societal trust and collective understanding. When 15 individuals, particularly young people, disappear without a trace from a seemingly safe and managed environment, it fundamentally challenges our deeply ingrained assumptions about control and predictability. It erodes the comforting illusion that with enough planning, enough precaution, and enough technological prowess, we can master or at least adequately predict the whims of the natural world. This event doesn't just represent a personal tragedy. It becomes a profound crack in the collective psyche, forcing us to confront the unsettling reality that there are forces or circumstances that lie utterly outside the boundaries of our current comprehension, rendering our best defenses and our most advanced tools utterly useless. Furthermore, an enigma of this magnitude invariably seeps into the cultural consciousness, transforming from a mere news report into a modern myth, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and debated in online forums. It feeds into humanity's ancient fascination with the unknown, with the idea of unseen forces lurking just beyond the veil of everyday perception. Think of the pervasive narratives of unexplained disappearances in folklore, from the Roanoke colony to the numerous cases in the Bermuda Triangle. This Yellowstone incident takes its place among them, a stark, contemporary example that validates our deepest anxieties about the wilderness as a place not just of beauty, but of profound, inexplicable danger. It shapes our collective storytelling, influencing how we perceive remote landscapes and perhaps even our own vulnerability within them, turning pristine nature into a canvas for the uncanny. From a scientific perspective, such a case presents an intellectual earthquake, rattling the foundations of established disciplines. When conventional forensic science, environmental analysis, and even the most rigorous search and rescue protocols yield absolutely no explanation, it compels experts to consider possibilities that typically reside on the fringes of accepted inquiry. How does one explain the clean, collective removal of multiple biological entities from a fixed point without any evidence of struggle, transport, or environmental destruction? This scenario pushes physicists to ponder localized energy anomalies, biologists to consider unknown pathogens or behavioral phenomena, and even psychologists to delve into the collective human response to an absence so absolute. It forces a humbling acknowledgement that our scientific models, robust as they are, may not encompass the full spectrum of reality, prompting a re-evaluation of what constitutes a plausible explanation in the face of the truly extraordinary. Consider how this applies to everyday life. For many, the wilderness transforms from a sanctuary into a place imbued with an unsettling undercurrent. The joy of hiking, camping, or exploring becomes tinged with a subtle, almost subconscious awareness of the limits of human knowledge and control. It prompts individuals to question their own preparedness, their own understanding of safety, and their own place within an environment that can, seemingly without effort, erase human presence. This incident serves as a stark, enduring reminder that despite our technological advancements and our best efforts to map and categorize the world, there remain vast, uncharted territories, not just geographically, but epistemologically, where the rules we understand simply cease to apply. It compels us to look at the world with a renewed sense of wonder, yes, but also with a profound respect for the mysteries that still elude our grasp, challenging us to expand our intellectual horizons beyond the comfortable confines of what we currently deem possible. The profound vacuum left by such an inexplicable event inevitably gives rise to a fertile ground for speculation, birthing a host of theories ranging from the deeply unsettling to the outright fantastical. When conventional explanations fail to account for a phenomenon, the human mind, averse to true ambiguity, often constructs narratives to fill that void. Among the most prevalent myths surrounding the Yellowstone disappearance are those positing extraterrestrial involvement, suggesting the campers were taken by an unknown intelligence or perhaps stumbled upon a portal to another dimension. Such ideas, while captivating, tend to emerge from a place of profound helplessness, a cognitive leap to the supernatural when all earthly logic collapses. These narratives, however, grapple with the same fundamental investigative roadblock: The complete absence of corroborating physical evidence, whether scorch marks from a landing craft, anomalous energy readings, or any disruption to the campsite that would suggest an otherworldly intervention. The pristine nature of the scene paradoxically undermines these very theories, as even the most advanced abductors might be expected to leave some trace, however subtle, of their presence or passage. Conversely, more grounded, yet equally perplexing, debates revolve around theories of an unprecedented localized natural phenomenon. Could a silent, extraordinarily potent release of volcanic gases, perhaps carbon dioxide or hydrogen sulfide, have rendered 15 people unconscious and then, through an unknown mechanism, removed their bodies without disturbing their belongings? While Yellowstone is geologically active, such a precise, sweeping yet utterly clean event, affecting only the living organisms and leaving no residue or signs of atmospheric disturbance, remains without scientific precedent. Another hypothesis contemplates a highly sophisticated, clandestine human operation, suggesting a well-resourced group managed to abduct the entire party with chilling efficiency, meticulously erasing all traces of their presence and the camper's departure. This theory, while chillingly plausible in its capacity for human malevolence, demands an extraordinary level of coordination, technical prowess, and a motive that has remained utterly elusive for decades, defying all attempts at criminal profiling or intelligence gathering. The enduring obstacle for investigators, even with the discovery of the preserved campsite, is the sheer lack of actionable data. The scene, while perfectly maintained, offers no new forensic pathways that weren't already exhausted in the initial fruitless searches. There are no fresh fingerprints, no DNA that wasn't already considered, no overlooked footprints, and critically, no narrative embedded within the objects themselves. This presents a unique challenge. How do you re-examine a crime scene that, in essence, provides a perfect snapshot of absence rather than presence? The passage of time further complicates matters. Potential environmental factors that might have existed in 1993, such as transient weather patterns or specific atmospheric conditions, can no longer be accurately reconstructed or analyzed. The very elements that could have offered a clue have long since dissipated, leaving behind only the immutable, silent tableau of the camp itself. Furthermore, the psychological toll on those tasked with solving such a mystery is immense. For law enforcement and scientific experts, the inability to apply standard investigative frameworks or to find any logical point of entry into the case can be profoundly demoralizing. It forces a confrontation with the limits of human ingenuity and scientific understanding. Imagine poring over detailed reports, re-examining photographs, and interviewing the same distraught families repeatedly, only to be met with the same unyielding wall of silence. This perpetual state of unknowing breeds frustration and, for some, a reluctant acceptance that certain events simply defy conventional explanation. The case transforms into a crucible for the scientific method itself, testing its boundaries when confronted with an event that seems to exist outside its purview, pushing the very definition of what constitutes a solvable problem. It forces us to acknowledge that some mysteries perhaps are designed to remain just that, enigmas that challenge our deepest convictions about order and the comprehensibility of the world around us. The enduring void left by the vanishing of the Yellowstone campers naturally provoked a storm of speculation, but it also ignited specific, often heated controversies regarding the management and investigative protocols within such vast national parks. One significant challenge, frequently debated in the aftermath, centered on the intricate jurisdictional labyrinth that characterized the initial search efforts. Yellowstone, famously straddling 3 states, Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, and managed by a federal agency, presented a complex tapestry of authority. Early on, the lack of a unified command structure, coupled with varying communication standards and equipment across federal park services, state police, and local sheriff's departments in 1993, arguably created friction and inefficiencies. This organizational friction, now a subject of critical historical analysis, raised pointed questions about whether a more streamlined, singular authority could have yielded different outcomes, or at least provided a clearer, more immediate response in the crucial first hours. Beyond the operational intricacies, the incident inadvertently resurrected older, lesser-known local legends and myths surrounding Yellowstone itself, imbuing them with a chilling contemporary relevance. While not widely publicized, whispers circulated among longtime residents and indigenous communities about trickster spirits or land guardians that demand tribute or simply absorb those who disrespect the ancient wilderness. These were not the common alien abduction narratives, but rather localized interpretations rooted in the deep, often mystical relationship some cultures have with such powerful natural spaces. Such folklore, previously relegated to oral tradition, found new traction, serving as a cultural coping mechanism for an event that defied rational explanation, even if it offered no empirical answers. Another significant area of contention emerged concerning the park's public access policies and the perceived balance between preserving natural beauty and ensuring visitor safety in the face of the inexplicable. Critics questioned whether the park's messaging adequately conveyed the truly unpredictable nature of certain deep wilderness areas, or if the emphasis on guided trails and well-known attractions inadvertently fostered a false sense of security. This wasn't about the general dangers of wildlife or thermal features, but about the possibility of an unforeseen, overwhelming event that could erase an entire group. The debate probed the ethical boundaries of allowing unfettered access to regions where even the most seasoned experts could offer no guarantees against the utterly unknown. Moreover, the prolonged absence of answers fueled a particular kind of internal park controversy. The quiet, yet persistent disagreement among veteran rangers and geologists about whether Yellowstone might harbor undiscovered, highly localized geological phenomena capable of such an event. Some theorized about rare, transient atmospheric inversions in specific valleys, perhaps combining with unique geothermal gas emissions in a manner never before documented or even conceived. This wasn't the widespread gas release previously considered, but a micro-event, a geological anomaly so specific and fleeting that it would leave no lasting trace, yet be potent enough to overwhelm an entire group. These were not public theories, but internal professional debates, highlighting the scientific community's struggle to reconcile empirical observation with an event that simply refused to fit into established models. Furthermore, the very concept of missing without a trace in a technologically advanced era became a source of public frustration and at times acrimonious debate. People grappled with the cognitive dissonance of how 15 individuals could simply vanish from a national park in the late 20th century without leaving a single biological or material clue beyond their perfectly arrayed camp. This public outcry often turned into sharp critiques of the investigative methods, demanding explanations for why no modern technology, even rudimentary for 1993, could pierce the veil of silence. It underscored a public expectation that science and law enforcement should always provide answers, and when they could not, it led to a crisis of confidence in the systems designed to protect and explain. When an event so utterly defies explanation, when the very fabric of our understanding seems to fray at the edges, what remains is not merely a question, but a profound shift in perspective. The lingering echo of such an impossible absence compels us to confront the limits of our knowledge, urging us to peer beyond the comfortable confines of the known. It forces a humbling realization that despite our relentless pursuit of answers, Despite our scientific advancements and our intricate mapping of the world, there exist phenomena that remain stubbornly opaque, refusing to yield to logic or empirical scrutiny. This enduring mystery, like a silent sentinel, stands as a testament to the vast, untamed territories that still exist, not just on physical maps, but within the very architecture of reality itself. Consider for a moment the psychological landscape shaped by such an unresolved enigma. It plants a seed of unease, a subtle yet persistent reminder that the world holds depths we have yet to fathom, and perhaps some we may never fully comprehend. This isn't about fear. Rather, it's about a profound respect for the inherent mystery of existence. An empty space, an unanswered question, can often resonate more powerfully than a fully detailed explanation, for it invites endless contemplation, sparking a perpetual cycle of inquiry within the human mind. The absence of a definitive conclusion doesn't close the book. Instead, it leaves an indelible mark, transforming a specific incident into a universal narrative about the unknown. Building upon this, such an event serves as a potent catalyst for curiosity, a powerful engine driving humanity's continuous quest for understanding. When confronted with the truly inexplicable, our innate desire to categorize, to explain, and to master our environment surges forth. We are compelled to ask not just what happened, but what could happen. This intellectual yearning pushes the boundaries of conventional thought, encouraging us to explore hypotheses that might otherwise seem fantastical, forcing a re-evaluation of what constitutes possibility. It reminds us that every solved mystery was once an intractable puzzle, every established theory once a radical idea. The very act of wrestling with the unexplainable strengthens our cognitive muscles, honing our ability to think critically and creatively. Moreover, these lingering questions reinforce the critical value of humility in our intellectual pursuits. They act as a stark counterpoint to any notion of scientific omniscience, reminding us that our current models and frameworks, while robust, are always provisional, always subject to revision in the face of new, challenging data. When an entire group of individuals can simply vanish from a fixed location, leaving behind a perfectly preserved tableau of their last moments, it demands a certain intellectual flexibility, an openness to paradigms that lie beyond our present grasp. It underscores that the universe is not obligated to conform to our expectations, and that the most profound insights often emerge from the unexpected, from the very edges of our comprehension. Ultimately, the persistent shadow cast by such an enduring unknown doesn't diminish the human spirit. Rather, it often fortifies it, fueling an insatiable drive for exploration. This isn't merely about finding the missing, it's about the journey of discovery itself, a testament to our relentless pursuit of truth, even when the path is shrouded in perpetual fog. It speaks to the core of what it means to be human, to observe, to question, to theorize, and to never cease looking for the deeper patterns that govern our existence, even when the answers remain tantalizingly out of reach. Perhaps the true lesson lies not in solving every mystery, but in embracing the wonder and wisdom that come from confronting the profound, unyielding silence of the unknown. When an event so utterly defies explanation, when the very fabric of our understanding seems to fray at the edges, what remains is not merely a question, but a profound shift in perspective. The lingering echo of such an impossible absence compels us to confront the limits of our knowledge, urging us to peer beyond the comfortable confines of the known. It forces a humbling realization that despite our relentless pursuit of answers, despite our scientific advancements and our intricate mapping of the world, there exist phenomena that remain stubbornly opaque, refusing to yield to logic or empirical scrutiny. This enduring mystery, like a silent sentinel, stands as a testament to the vast, untamed territories that still exist, not just on physical maps, but within the very architecture of reality itself. Consider for a moment the psychological landscape shaped by such an unresolved enigma. It plants a seed of unease, a subtle yet persistent reminder that the world holds depths we have yet to fathom, and perhaps some we may never fully comprehend. This isn't about fear. Rather, it's about a profound respect for the inherent mystery of existence. An empty space, an unanswered question, can often resonate more powerfully than a fully detailed explanation, for it invites endless contemplation, sparking a perpetual cycle of inquiry within the human mind. The absence of a definitive conclusion doesn't close the book. Instead, it leaves an indelible mark, transforming a specific incident into a universal narrative about the unknown. Building upon this, such an event serves as a potent catalyst for curiosity, a powerful engine driving humanity's continuous quest for understanding. When confronted with the truly inexplicable, our innate desire to categorize, to explain, and to master our environment surges forth. We are compelled to ask not just what happened, but what could happen. This intellectual yearning pushes the boundaries of conventional thought, encouraging us to explore hypotheses that might otherwise seem fantastical, forcing a re-evaluation of what constitutes possibility. It reminds us that every solved mystery was once an intractable puzzle, every established theory once a radical idea. The very act of wrestling with the unexplainable strengthens our cognitive muscles, honing our ability to think critically and creatively. Moreover, these lingering questions reinforce the critical value of humility in our intellectual pursuits. They act as a stark counterpoint to any notion of scientific omniscience, reminding us that our current models and frameworks, while robust, are always provisional, always subject to revision in the face of new, challenging data. When an entire group of individuals can simply vanish from a fixed location, leaving behind a perfectly preserved tableau of their last moments, it demands a certain intellectual flexibility, an openness to paradigms that lie beyond our present grasp. It underscores that the universe is not obligated to conform to our expectations, and that the most profound insights often emerge from the unexpected, from the very edges of our comprehension. Ultimately, the persistent shadow cast by such an enduring unknown doesn't diminish the human spirit. Rather, it often fortifies it, fueling an insatiable drive for exploration. This isn't merely about finding the missing, it's about the journey of discovery itself, a testament to our relentless pursuit of truth, even when the path is shrouded in perpetual fog. It speaks to the core of what it means to be human, to observe, to question, to theorize, and to never cease looking for the deeper patterns that govern our existence, even when the answers remain tantalizingly out of reach. Perhaps the true lesson lies not in solving every mystery, but in embracing the wonder and wisdom that come from confronting the profound, unyielding silence of the unknown. In the end, what truly lingers from such an impossible vanishing is not merely the absence of 15 individuals, but the profound presence of an unanswered question. The perfectly preserved campsite, a silent tableau frozen in time, transcends its literal meaning to become a stark monument to the limits of human understanding. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that some events simply refuse to conform to our meticulously constructed frameworks of cause and effect, standing as an enduring testament to phenomena that operate entirely outside the boundaries of our current perception. This specific enigma, therefore, acts as a potent mirror, reflecting back our own deep-seated need for closure and the unsettling discomfort we experience when that closure is perpetually denied. Such an event, however, does more than just mystify. It reshapes our relationship with the natural world. Yellowstone, in this context, transforms from a mere geological wonder into a place imbued with an almost mystical power, a landscape capable of both breathtaking beauty and unfathomable secrets. It prompts a re-evaluation of our anthropocentric view, reminding us that for all our advancements, for all our mapping and categorizing, the planet itself retains an ancient, indifferent majesty, capable of concealing truths far beyond our grasp. The wilderness ceases to be just a backdrop for human adventure. It becomes an active, enigmatic participant in the grand theater of existence, holding its secrets with an unwavering grip, challenging our very notion of control and predictability. Moreover, this particular brand of enigma, where the details are so clear, yet the explanation so absent, serves as an intellectual crucible. It keeps the mind supple, preventing the stagnation that can arise from an over-reliance on readily available answers. When conventional logic falters, when every established scientific principle is applied and found wanting, it compels us to think laterally, to imagine possibilities that lie at the very fringes of our current understanding. This perpetual state of inquiry, far from being a source of despair, can be a wellspring of profound intellectual growth, pushing the boundaries of what we consider plausible and fostering a dynamic, ever-evolving curiosity about the universe. It is in these moments of profound uncertainty that truly innovative thought often takes root. Indeed, the narrative of the vanished campers, bereft of a conventional ending, resonates deeply within the collective human experience. It taps into a primal awareness that life itself is replete with unexplainable turns, with moments that defy rational breakdown or neat categorization. Consider those smaller personal enigmas we all encounter, the sudden inexplicable shift in a relationship, the unexpected turn of fate, the fleeting glimpse of something that seems to defy reality. These too echo the larger, grander mysteries, inviting a similar posture of reflection, a quiet acceptance of life's inherent unpredictability, and a recognition that not every question will find its definitive answer. Ultimately, the enduring silence surrounding Yellowstone's 15 missing campers is not merely a void, but a profound lesson. It teaches us that perhaps the true value of such an enigma lies not in its eventual solution, but in what it reveals about ourselves, our insatiable curiosity, our intellectual resilience, and our capacity to live with and even draw wisdom from the limits of our own knowledge. It's a powerful invitation to maintain a sense of wonder, to constantly question, and to embrace the vast, untamed territories that still exist, not just in remote wildernesses, but within the very fabric of our understanding. What does it mean, then, to exist in a world where some doors simply refuse to open? And what profound insights can we glean from their steadfast, unyielding silence? Imagine stepping into a remote wilderness campsite, expecting to find signs of life, perhaps even remnants of a struggle, or at the very least, a clear indication of a hasty departure. What if, instead, you discovered a scene frozen in time, utterly undisturbed, as if its occupants had simply evaporated? Consider the chilling implications of such a discovery, where every item, from neatly pitched tents to a half-finished game of checkers on a mossy log, remains perfectly in place, poised for a return that never materialized. This isn't a scene from a horror film. It's the stark reality of one of America's most perplexing cold cases, unfolding in the ancient, untamed heart of Yellowstone National Park. For decades, we've been taught to respect the power of nature, to understand that the wilderness, while beautiful, can be unforgiving. We anticipate that if someone vanishes, there will be clues, a dropped hat, a broken branch, perhaps even a struggle against a wild animal or the elements. Yet the disappearance of 15 young American campers in 1993 defies every one of these conventional expectations. This wasn't a single person lost to the vastness. It was an entire group, including their eager counselor, Sarah Jensen, along with adventurous teens like Ethan Miller and the thoughtful Olivia Davis, who embarked on an autumn trip that ended in an absolute, inexplicable void. Their last known evening was filled with the quintessential sounds of a campfire, laughter and camaraderie under the stars, before an unnatural silence descended, leaving nothing but an empty clearing by morning. The true chilling power of this story lies not just in the sheer number of vanished individuals, but in the unnerving precision of their absence. For 31 agonizing years, exhaustive searches, utilizing every available resource, scoured Yellowstone's millions of acres. Families, like Olivia's father, Michael, endured a haunting void, a national tragedy etched into the public consciousness. The park, renowned for its geysers and wildlife, became synonymous with this profound, unsolved mystery. Then, an unexpected discovery by a remote park patrol shattered the long-held silence, yet only deepened the enigma. They found the camp, not destroyed, not scattered, but perfectly preserved. Imagine the scene. Tents still erect, sleeping bags neatly rolled inside, backpacks resting against trees, and that half-finished game of checkers, a silent testament to a moment abruptly interrupted. It's a tableau of normalcy, a snapshot of life paused, not ended by any discernible force. This uncanny preservation is what elevates the Yellowstone disappearance from a tragic loss into a truly perplexing puzzle, one that challenges our fundamental understanding of how people vanish. It's a mystery that refuses to offer the comfort of a conventional explanation, defying the very laws of physics and common sense. What force could orchestrate such a clean, collective disappearance, leaving behind a scene so meticulously untouched? How could 15 individuals, with all their gear, their stories, and their plans, simply cease to exist from a perfectly ordered space? This isn't a question of being lost. It's a question of being erased. The pristine nature of the campsite offers no clues, no struggle, no signs of an accident, animal attack, or human intervention. It stands as a monument to an event so absolute, so devoid of conventional evidence, that it forces us to reconsider what we believe is possible in our world. This is why the Yellowstone vanishing continues to captivate and disturb. It rips open a hole in our understanding, inviting us to explore the unsettling possibilities that lie beyond the edge of the known. Reflecting on this journey through the shadowed corridors of an unparalleled enigma, we've witnessed how the very act of disappearance can transcend mere absence, becoming a potent presence in itself. The unfolding narrative has vividly illuminated the profound chasm that can exist between human endeavor and nature's inscrutability, forcing us to recalibrate our understanding of control and the limits of predictability. What began as a straightforward search for lost individuals evolved into an archaeological quest for an event that defies conventional explanation, leaving behind not chaos, but an unsettling order. This meticulous void challenges the bedrock of investigative science, compelling us to look beyond the immediate and grapple with the truly extraordinary. The cumulative effect of these interwoven threads, the vast, indifferent power of the wilderness, the limitations inherent in our most diligent efforts, and the almost surgical precision of an event that left no discernible trace, has sculpted a narrative far richer than a simple cold case. It has etched itself into the broader tapestry of human experience, transforming a localized tragedy into a universal parable about the unknown. Our collective consciousness, ever seeking patterns and explanations, finds itself confronted with a canvas where the brushstrokes of logic simply refuse to form a coherent image. This persistent lack of resolution doesn't just frustrate, it deepens the mystery, imbuing the very landscape with an almost mythical quality, blurring the lines between the tangible and the profoundly speculative. As we draw these conceptual strands together, we discern how readily our established frameworks for understanding the world can fray at the edges when confronted with an absolute anomaly. The expected indicators of struggle, the forensic markers of an accident, the logical progression of a natural disaster, all were conspicuously absent, leaving only an unsettling stillness. This silence, amplified by the passage of decades, has become a resonant echo, compelling us to consider the possibility that some phenomena simply operate beyond the current frontiers of our scientific grasp. It's a humbling realization, suggesting that perhaps the universe holds secrets that are not merely undiscovered, but fundamentally configured in ways we have yet to even conceptualize. In light of these insights, the path forward for our contemplation shifts from merely asking what happened to a more profound inquiry into what does this mean? The erosion of societal certainties, the birth of new cultural narratives, and the intellectual challenges posed to diverse scientific disciplines all converge, painting a complex picture of humanity grappling with the inexplicable. It's a powerful testament to our innate need to understand, even when faced with an unyielding wall of silence. This journey through the fringes of the known has primed us, not for a simple answer, but for a deeper reflection on the nature of reality itself and our place within its boundless, often enigmatic expanse. We are left not with a solution, but with a heightened sense of wonder, a sharpened edge to our curiosity, ready to ponder the ultimate implications of such an impossible absence. The lingering echo of the Yellowstone vanishing, a story etched into the very fabric of our national consciousness, ultimately transcends the specific details of a missing persons case to become a profound philosophical query. It's a narrative that forces us to confront not merely the limits of our search and rescue capabilities or forensic science, but the very boundaries of our understanding of reality itself. The image of that perfectly preserved campsite, a tableau of normalcy frozen in time, stands as a stark, almost poetic testament to an event so utterly devoid of conventional explanation that it compels us to re-evaluate our most fundamental assumptions about cause, effect, and human presence within the natural world. This isn't just about a loss, it's about an erasure so complete, so precise, that it mocks our deepest need for logical closure. For decades, the silence surrounding Sarah, Ethan, Olivia, and their companions has resonated far more powerfully than any potential answer could have. It has woven itself into the fabric of Yellowstone's mystique, transforming a place of breathtaking natural beauty into a landscape capable of harboring secrets so profound they challenge the very laws of physics and biology as we understand them. The enduring mystery of 15 souls simply ceasing to be, leaving behind a scene of undisturbed domesticity, acts as a perpetual reminder that for all our technological prowess and scientific ambition, there remain vast, untamed territories, not just on our maps, but within the very architecture of existence. These are the frontiers of the inexplicable, where our most robust theories falter, and our most diligent inquiries meet an unyielding void. This profound absence, however, is not without its own unique, albeit unsettling form of presence. It fuels a universal human curiosity, an innate drive to piece together the fragments of the unknown, even when the complete picture remains elusive. It nudges us to consider possibilities beyond the mundane, to stretch the confines of our intellectual comfort zones, and to question the narratives we construct to make sense of our world. When faced with such an absolute enigma, the speculative mind flourishes, giving rise to theories that range from the scientific frontiers of localized energy anomalies to the ancient whispers of forces beyond our ken. Yet, each hypothesis, no matter how ingenious, ultimately bows before the central, unyielding fact, the pristine, mute evidence of a moment interrupted, not concluded. The true impact of the Yellowstone vanishing, therefore, lies not in its eventual solution, should one ever be found, but in its enduring capacity to humble and to inspire. It teaches us the critical value of intellectual humility, reminding us that our knowledge, however vast, is always provisional, always subject to revision in the face of the truly extraordinary. It fosters a deep respect for the intrinsic mysteries that permeate our universe, encouraging us to embrace the questions as much as the answers. The families, like Olivia's father Michael, who have lived with this haunting void, embody the profound human capacity for resilience in the face of incomprehensible loss, their enduring hope, a silent testament to the unconquerable spirit. In a world increasingly saturated with information, where every query seems to have an immediate answer, the Yellowstone mystery stands as a powerful counterpoint, a call to cultivate a deeper, more patient form of inquiry. It's an invitation to look beyond the surface, to dwell in the discomfort of unknowing, and to find wisdom in the quiet contemplation of that which defies easy explanation. The true practice begins now, not in dissecting what might have happened, but in allowing the profound silence of this impossible disappearance to expand our understanding of what could be, and to appreciate the boundless wonder that still resides in the vast, uncharted territories of our reality. It is a lasting legacy, a testament to the fact that even in absence, there can be a profound, enduring presence, continually beckoning us toward the edges of our comprehension.